So recently we headed back to London to shoot some more artist features, and this is how it went. Alright, so we just arrived here in London, and as usual we have some exciting program ahead of us, some more artist shooting.
First up, we're going to meet Mella Dee, who is famous for this massive hit called Techno Disco Tool, which is kind of sample-based disco tech house, but really catchy in my opinion. Next up, we're going to visit Sherelle, who is co-running the label Hoover Sound and mostly known for jungle up-tempo stuff.
And lastly, we're going to visit Object Blue, who's also a super talented artist here from London. She's been collaborating with TSVI, whom we already featured last time we've been to London, and at the moment she's working on her debut album, so we're going to get an exclusive insight into the early stages of the writing process. Let's go!
Hi, this is Mella Dee, just in my studio in Fold in East London, here with Thomann, and I'm going to just show you sort of around my studio, show you a few little bits and bobs and a little explanation of them, and give you a rough idea of how I might sort of put together a sketch of a track, how I just compile sounds and sort of what I do to get started and the basis of everything sort of in terms of my workflow. So let's get started. This is my little wall of synthesizers, wall of sounds and that. A few different bits and bobs, all sort of run from Ableton, and at the minute sort of got this little doleful one controlling a couple of bits and bobs. My Circlon's down there, it's not plugged in at the minute. Maybe one day. We've got my EPS 16, this is my nice little sampler. Love using this. It's a really interesting little device, just sort of plug it in, plug stuff off my phone, record samples in and stuff like that, just little bits and bobs. Probably my latest purchase is this Percon's HD01 from America. It's a mad little drum machine, so get some really good interesting rhythms on it. Poly 6. Probably the only poly thing that I've got in here. I don't actually play any chords, to be honest with you. It's all just sort of single notes and simple gear, so that's probably my least used little bit of equipment, but it's still a good synth, you know. Mono poly, that's a favourite of mine. You can get quite a lot of mad sounds out of that. It's got 4 voices, but you can use them all like in unison. You can use them in poly as well, but it's not really something I do because you have to tune every single voice separately. 101, classic machine, everyone knows that one, but this one's modded up as well. It's got like pulse width modulation, it's got a filter drive. One of the first things I ever bought, MS-20 Mini, classic sort of machine as well. DRM, the Vermona. Very unique, it's got its own little sound, but it's usable, you just have to sort of tweak it a bit.
My journey into music is not linear. I went from house, garage, R&B, and that's all stuff that has kind of been given to me via my sister and my mum. Then I've moved over to like electro, specifically Ed Banger, like records and stuff like that. I then, moved from that era into the music that I love today in terms of like my machine drums, my loans and stuff like that. They're like 2 production heroes of mine, and I think they've got a very definitive sound. And through like Machine Drum and his mix for like Mixmag, I was able to like develop a love for footwork and for jungle. That's when it became linear, because I feel like I was exploring a lot of different sounds, but within the same BPM as it were. We are currently at the beautiful &II Studios. This is the space that I've managed to work alongside with &II to open. We're based in London. We have people come down to the studio all the time creating projects. So we've got all like amazing photos of everyone and a whiteboard. So my setup, it's taken time to get to this point because I didn't have this kind of setup, excuse my messy wires, but like obviously when you're first starting out, obviously it's recommended for you to just be within the box. I made 160 down the A406 just in my laptop, and it was using all of the Roland cloud products and just on a monopoly but on the keyboard playing all of these tunes and stuff like that, so that was obviously super fun. But as I've evolved and tried to get into production a little bit more, I've obviously added further things. I've obviously got my machine MK Mark III, which I love using especially on the breaks perspective or even doing percussive stuff. This was actually super useful to me when doing the Lone remix. I just wanted to kind of break out of the fact that I was literally chopping breaks up and putting them together, rather than playing them and having, again, like I said, some form of fluidity to add to a song.
I didn't start making my own music on Ableton until I was 21 or 2. I'd played piano when I was a child, and I really loved it, but I was always aware of my limits because I'm not a great pianist. Just because I love music and I like making it and I can hear it in my head, it doesn't make one a great instrumentalist. And when you're a child, especially if you're from a not musical family, there's not much you can see as a way of musical self-expression other than to play an instrument well. So I gave up on that very quickly. I became a very angsty teenager. But I was always listening to lots of music obsessively. When I was 22, I finally got so tired of trying to pretend that I didn't want to make music. You know what, so what if I fail? I'm just going to try it. Even when I don't feel good about myself or good about the music I make, it's there. It's something I can't run away from. And I don't want to, so yeah. I mean, actually I have been. I've been so procrastinating on my album. And my wife actually called me out on it. She was like, "You're not writing music right now. I see you playing Tetris on your phone all the time." I was like, cry. I was like, this is true. And then so I started writing again recently. I'm not like my good friend TSVI who wakes up in the morning, eats breakfast and just sits down at Ableton every day. I psych myself out. If I think about something too much, I get intimidated by it. So I have tried having external studios. It doesn't work because I kind of go oh, I have to go to the studio tomorrow, and when I go to the studio tomorrow, I should get here by this time and I should finish this much. And I'll be like, oh, I missed my train. That's it, my whole day is ruined, you know. And so I realized, it took me so long to learn this, but I have to kind of make it non-intimidating as much as I can. So I'll be like, I need to cook some lunch, and while the pot is bubbling away, I'm going to add this little thing to a track I thought of. And usually if I ease myself in like that, I'll be working on it 4 hours later without realizing. You know, like the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. I am the jack. I am not a master of anything, I'm just a jack.